to the grave. What do you want, Tariq?
I want the truth.
Alright, y'all know the deal. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, because today's video is gonna be crazy. Crazy, I tell you. So, I'm gonna get started on like a few of our characters. Mainly is gonna be Effie, Detective Whitman, and then Lorenzo. But Lorenzo is gonna probably be maybe last, depending on how I go along with this. So, I've been hearing some chatter, and even some of my peoples in my comment section down below, where they was explaining, well, mainly Kitty was explaining to me that it's a possibility that Effie could be like a CI, or maybe related to Mecca. Now I'm like, you may not be wrong, because after what we seen in episode 1, where Lauren is alive, she's alive. So, and from what it looks like, it seems like Effie was like the one to have pushing her into like the water, like push the car or tip the car into the water, but then she wakes up and she's alive. So it's like, what if she is actually the CI? And Jenny said it. When she was telling to Blanca, she was like, yeah, I have a CI, so that's inside. So I'm like, wait a minute. If she's a CI, then Tariq might be screwed, because that's the thing. There's little of like information on Effie. We don't know as much, even though, yes, I think Courtney Kip said that I think in this season her backstory is going to be explained, so we're going to get to understand more of her, because I'm a little bit curious as to one, who is her parents, right? And two, who is she's like related to? Like, is she's related to anybody from Ghost's past, like the previous like drug dealers or drug members that was in that circle? And is Effie one of their children or cousins, or related to any one of them, right? Just related to like any one of them, and somehow she found her way over to Tariq, but then something happened and she became a CI, or maybe she's related to Mecca in some sort of sense, right? And maybe this is exactly why she's a CI, because keep in mind, it's like Effie betrayed Tariq in the past, and what makes you think she wouldn't do it again? Because there's a saying that goes on in the streets. It's like, once a snitch, always a snitch, and she kind of ratted Tariq out, and she stuck close to Tariq, as what they said in the show all summer. So she's been keeping tabs on him and monitoring how things is. So if she is some sort of CI, then Jesus. Because think about it, if there was like some sort of revenge plot or whatever that she had against Tariq, right? It could have gotten all swept away, because maybe she did fall in love with Tariq, or maybe, again, okay, let's knock out the revenge part. Let's just say it's not even about revenge. Let's just say like she is like a CI, and her goal is to either bring down everything. And unfortunately, Tariq is in this investigation, and something's gonna have to give. So it's gonna be interesting, because when Jenny said that, I was like, wait a minute, it wouldn't make sense. And like you said, it wouldn't make any sense that why would Lauren be the CI if she would technically be in witness protection? So I was like, you know what, you're right. So I'm thinking, now I'm starting to see things more clearly, that maybe Effie could be the CI. And if she is like undercover and she's on some snaky shit, she has to go. Unfortunately, Effie probably has to go. Now, going over to Detective Whitman. Now, this whole thing about Zeke's death, and they don't know who's the shooter is basically a mystery. I feel like Detective Whitman, his case could be wrapped up easily, because if he doesn't have like an alibi on the night Zeke's death, because remember when Detective Whitman showed Zeke those pictures of, I think Monet, was like the last person to have seen Carrie, or because I know there was like a picture that he showed him. I think it was that picture or her death. It was something that I think it was her death. I forgot. I don't know if it was the picture of them together or it was her death. I forgot what it was, but he showed it to him, and then that's when Zeke like was so pissed off, because it was like, oh, she's dead. So I'm kind of wondering, like, does he have an alibi for when everything that happened to with Zeke? Like, was he still in the police station? Because I'm thinking, if there's like no alibi, wouldn't it be technically an easy fix for Detective Whitman to like I don't know, go to jail or something because the proof is in the pudding. He had this asphyxiation for Carrie because he was like, oh, Carrie is basically screwing with Zeke and whoever else, and he was strong on trying to come after Carrie. But then when she died, he started to lean more over to Zeke, like maybe Zeke had something to do with it. But then now, as what we see in this episode, he's looking more into Monet and the whole Tejada family because he's like, no, she has something to do with it. So I'm thinking, like, wouldn't it technically be easy if they was to say, like, okay, in order for them to solve this Detective Whitman problem, Detective Whitman was the one to have killed Zeke, right? And then planted the gun at his house, break into his house or whatever, slip the gun in and be like, we found our guy. Because keep in mind, Detective Whitman isn't really looking at Tariq like that. He's not really looking at him. He's really looking at the Tejada family. So I'm thinking, wouldn't it be an easy fix for them to say, okay, and plant the gun at his spot and be like, his asphyxiation for Carrie, he killed Carrie and then he killed Zeke out of jealousy. Wouldn't that technically wrap everything up for, like, Detective Whitman? I was thinking about that, like, it could work, but then I don't think it would because, again, from that trailer that we seen, it seems like Lorenzo did tell Monet that he has something to do with it. So now, which brings me to him, because he has Monet and then he has Norma, because Norma is still going to be looking for answers as to what happened with Mecca and who killed Mecca. So if Norma doesn't meet Monet, and let's just say, like, she doesn't get, like, the vibe from Monet that maybe Monet has something to do with his death, and it leads over to Lorenzo has something to do with it, which would be technically a perfect, easy solution, because it'd be like, oh, well, he found out about whatever, and then he killed them, so I want revenge and payback. But I'm thinking, like, if it is true that if Lorenzo does tell Monet that he has something to do with it, I'm thinking two things can actually happen to him. Well, maybe three things. If he doesn't kill, well, okay, if Monet doesn't kill Lorenzo for Zeke, right? Or Lorenzo doesn't, like, step up and take the heat and be like, I was the one that killed Mecca to protect Monet, to justify him killing Zeke, so he feels guilty, so he takes the rap and then Norma kills him. Or lastly, the cops get involved and he, I guess, sells on himself and be like, he was the one to have killed Mecca, right, to protect Monet. So I'm thinking, because, again, somebody this season is going to have to go to jail. Somebody's getting jailed this season. So I'm like, he only has, like, really three options that can happen. Either he goes back to jail or he's getting killed by one of these women, one of them. But even if he was to get killed by Norma, it would technically be a lie because he didn't do it. But keep in mind of this too, because they said there's going to be, like, a lot of alliances and a lot of betrayals. And in the trailer that we seen, like, Monet was going over to Davis and saying, I want everything that he has on me. So I'm like, is she talking about Tariq? Like, is this going to be, like, some sort of fallout between, like, Monet and Tariq, where she's going to try to be going behind Tariq's back and talking to Davis to be like, whatever information that Tariq collect on the Tejada family for, like, I guess, what, years or months and years, be like, she wants that information. So I'm thinking, if that was to ever happen, Tariq would have, like, I guess you could say, like, a card to play, because then if she does anything, or she goes behind, like, Tariq's back, then Tariq can go to tell Norma, and be like, well, you want to know who killed Mecca? She was the one that killed Mecca. And then it would start something between, like, Norma and Monet. So it's a lot of, oh my God, it's going to be so much stuff that's going to actually happen. But I'm thinking, like, it's really, like, an easy fix to get, like, Whitman out of the way. But then, because you can't say, like, Whitman killed, it wouldn't make any sense, like, if they was to put the blame and say, oh, technically Whitman killed Mecca. It's like, no, I don't, that story doesn't really sit well with me. I think it would be better as if they was to frame Whitman for this, like, do something to put the blame on Whitman. I don't know. I think it would be perfect that way. Like, he would be the one responsible, like, even though he didn't do it, but the evidence would technically make sense, because it's like, he's been obsessive over Carrie, and he's been really after the Tejada family, so wouldn't it make sense for him to kill both of them, like, kill Zeke because of what he did, and then kill Carrie because of what he did out of jealousy? Because keep in mind, Tariq, everybody's still looking at Tariq because they feel like Tariq is responsible for killing Zeke, and everybody in that college, like, and the board wants him gone because they believe he was the one to have killed Zeke, and Tariq is basically bad news. And like Rashad said, like, he has to change his outlook. He has to make people believe that he's a good person and he's not responsible for any of these crimes. But it's like, it's going to be kind of hard to do. That's why I'm thinking, like, Whitman would be perfect, because the obsession and him trying to come for Zeke and the rest, like, I think it would be perfect if they was to spin it that way. But if they was to spin it that way, Monet would have to learn the truth of what Lorenzo did in order for this plan to work. That's the only reason I can think of for them to get rid of the Whitman situation or the Whitman problem, is if she knows about it and furious. Like, she's still pissed and she's furious, but Whitman would have to go because Whitman is getting too close. And then the whole Mecca situation, it's like, I think either, like I said, either Monet would be able to take out Lorenzo, or Norma would do it off of a lie, or he admits to it and lie to Norma to protect Monet, and then he dies either way, or he goes back to jail. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, like, one of those, three of those cases could actually happen for him for obvious reasons. But let me know in the comment section down below on what do you think of this theory, this idea of everything kind of like tying up with Effie probably being the CI, because I don't think it's Braden. Braden is solid. Braden blew up his whole entire career for Tariq. That's not possible. Anybody with, like, you can't even look at Kane. Don't look at Kane. Don't look at Drew. So it has to be Effie. If Effie is the CI, which is starting to look like it, oh my God. Tariq has been sleeping with the enemy and he hasn't known it. He hasn't even known it, that he's been sleeping with the enemy for so long, and that she was the driving force to getting rid of Lauren, which could technically make sense as to why she was like, no, she gotta go, because she was, you know, getting put into witness protection while she was gonna hang back and didn't, like, dig up all this evidence. Because, okay, even if it was, let's go back to it, even if it was like some sort of form of revenge, like she did all this just to get back at Tariq, that's one hell of a revenge story. But I'm thinking it's probably not, and it's probably like something completely different. But we're gonna see. But let me know what you guys think about this, and yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll catch you all in the next one.